Okay, welcome to another shop talk. I thought I'd do a bit more of an in-depth on the Altendorf F45, which I used for the window build you may have seen on Friday. It may not have been clear to everyone exactly why or how I was doing the rebates for the glass, for the glazing unit, so I thought I'd show you now. I knew it would be a big upgrade getting a saw which was CNC controlled, but I didn't quite realise how I would utilise it. I just thought it was going to make things much quicker and more accurate just moving the fence. But actually being able to go back to cuts and repeat them halfway through a job has been a complete change of the way I think in the shop. So I would think doing a rebate, first thing I would do is go to the spindle moulder, or if I didn't have a spindle moulder back in the day, I'd be using a bearing guided router and taking a few passes. I was going to do that on this project, and then I kind of thought, these programs here, when I bought the saw, I remember the engineer saying, oh, no one uses the programs. But I thought, well, I could program up the two, dial in the two cuts, save them, carry on with my day's work, and every time I come back to these window rebates, I can just use program 1 and program 2 or whatever it is I've saved. So let me just show you how you do that, and let me just show, it's quite basic, the program system on the saw I've bought, but it does everything I need. I'm not doing much panel work, which is why I didn't go for the super duper one where you could set up for lots of different employees to cut different panels and give them a program sheet in the morning. So for me, this is really effortless. The saving and loading of the programs is really, really simple. So let me just show you exactly what I was doing and how I was doing it. Okay, so let's explain this cut 1 and 2. This is a good example here. The glass is going to sit, this is the outside, so the glass is going to sit from here back. This is the rebate for the glass, so it's a 15mm rebate this way. I've got about 22, 21mm because these are going to be putted in for the double glazed units, which are 14mm. So if we look on the saw, we go to program number 1. So cut number 1 is going to cut across here. And that would be the first cut, and then we turn it over to cut number 2, go to program 2, the blade comes up and goes over, and then we do cut number 2. So it's cut number 1, turn it over, cut number 2. Okay, so you might notice the figures on program 1 and 2 aren't sort of 20 and 15mm because we've actually got to take the thickness of the blade into account between here and here, because we're cutting. That measurement on the saw is between the ripping fence and the edge of the blade, but we're keeping what could be called the off-cut side, so we're going to also lose the thickness of the blade here. So we have to minus the blade before we do the program. I just wanted to show you how the program works on this. It is really simple. I'm sorry about the screen flicker. If anyone knows how to get rid of that, please let me know in the comments. So if we go into normal cut mode, first of all, this is the saw in cut mode. It is red because the fence and the blade are not where the screen says they should be. If we hit start. So you need to hold the start button only when the fence is really close to the blade for safety reasons. There they are. So that is where the blade is now. Now to store that as a memory is as simple as pressing program and holding it. You can see up there it's storing it, and there it is stored as program number 9. So simple to go back to. You can edit the program by pressing the little edit key, going up and down, typing in what you want, go down, type in what you want, go down and hit save again. And now that is now number 9 is 520. Again, it's in red because we need to hit the start button. Tell it to load the program, it's going to load it. Couldn't be more simple. So you can see how simple that was using the 2 programs to do the rebate. Now I'm not saying, before you all jump in, that that can't be done with a non-CNC saw. Of course it can. If I was going to do that with a saw that wasn't computer controlled, I would be setting up to do the cut number 1, and I'd be doing all of the pieces in one go. Then I would change it to cut number 2 and do all the pieces in one go. And that way you're going to get everything consistent, because when you switch over to the spindle molder, and I will be doing a bit more of an in-depth on the spindle molder and the tooling I use to cut the mortises. When you get over to the spindle molder, which is going to cut exactly 14mm tenon, for instance, and the space between the tenon and then the rebate slot, which was the key on what I showed on that video, where I'm cutting the overhang for the rebate for the glazing unit all in one go. That needs to be perfect between the top of the tenon and the underside of the overhang on the vertical parts of the window. They need to be exact. So if you're going over here and tapping it on your saw and you're 0.2 of a millimeter out on one upright, and then you come back to it a few hours later and you 0.2 the other way, you're going to start seeing massive discrepancies if you're going to do it in this way. So that's where I decided to switch to the saw rather than using the spindle molder with a power feed. Yes, the spindle molder with a power feed is going to take that off in one hit, and it's going to drag it through for me. But I'm telling you, it's a lot of material. That oak, when you take it, it gets tons of rip out. You can get tear out if the grain's on the wrong kind of direction at a certain point in one of the long pieces. Some of these are 2.5 meters, some of the bigger windows. And I just switched to this and did some tests, and I found it really effortless and simple. So I'm really loving that on this saw. There's another cool feature. I'm making some doors next. You'll see in one of the videos, 2 sets of doors for the workshop. I needed to do some grooves and rebates for those. And there is a really cool trick on here called grooving. And I'm going to do a little video on that after I've done the door build. So that will be coming very soon. I hope you found that useful. Thanks so much for watching as always. I do really appreciate it, and all your feedback and support. See you on the next one.